Do you ever feel guilty about putting yourself first? I know I did for most of my life, and I'm going to tell you some stories that might even help you to not feel guilty about putting yourself first. Welcome to the Michelle Fondin Author vlog. This is episode 43. I'm the author of 14 published books, including my latest book, Love Me Unconditionally, a spiritual guide to self-love and inner peace, and its companion workbook. You can find these books on Amazon, Ingram Spark, and soon, opening August 22nd, my new Etsy store, M. Fondin Books and Gifts. I will be offering these books and a lot of my other books with other items in gift packages just for you. If you're new to this channel, I want to welcome you here. Thank you for subscribing, clicking the bell, giving the video a thumbs up, and sharing with your friends and commenting below. I am here with my pals, Grogu and two different types of Gudetama, as usual during my vlogs. And also, I have my special tumbler, Mando, and Mando and Grogu with my Tocino Dandelion Caramel Nut Tea. I should really sell Tocino tea in a gift package in my Etsy packages. I didn't even think of that till just now. So incredibly good. I love it. So I've got a couple of announcements, and then we'll head right into our topic about feeling guilty about putting yourself first. I have some exciting announcements. I already mentioned my Etsy store, M. Fondin Books and Gifts, opening on August 22nd of 2026. But I have a brand new twin flame oracle deck with messages that is available for pre-order right now. I'm going to put some of the images from the deck right here. It's called Twin Flame Union Messages, and these are unique to me as a tarot and oracle card reader, also related to my teachings, also related to my Twin Flame books. There are 44 cards in the deck. It is available for pre-order now. I'll put the link below. It's going to be $59 per deck, free US shipping included. And if you pre-order before the end of August, you will get a special bonus gift in that package. And you will have these cards delivered to you by mid-September if you live in the United States. So do check that out. My second announcement is I have my live over Zoom self-love mastery course. It's a 6-week course with me, live over Zoom, 2.5 hours per class. And I'm doing an info session, and it's so much fun. It's called Take Your Self-Love Report Card. And this is an assessment of how much you actually love yourself. It's a little bit serious. It's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So it'll be a lot of fun. That webinar is coming up on Thursday, September 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. You can sign up for that free webinar and take this fun quiz with me on September 3rd. The link is also below. Let's dive into our topic. If you hear a noise, I've got my baby kitty, Mocha, who is playing with her toy right below my feet. So if you hear a little rattling, that's what you're hearing. So let's talk about feeling guilty for putting yourself first. And me feeling guilty primarily for most of my life really bit me in the butt, big time, especially around the year 2016. I put everyone ahead of myself, everything ahead of myself, everything I did ahead of myself, all the time. And it really culminated into a catastrophic experience that devastated my life in 2016. Now, I had a lot of devastating things about not putting myself first in many years of my life. But to bring a point home here and just show you how not putting yourself first can really hurt you, and that feeling guilty about it only delays the inevitable, meaning your life often has so many more obstacles and problems when you don't put yourself first. I don't even want to talk about this. It's a little hard to talk about because that year was such an incredibly painful year for me. In the new edition of this book, How to Run a Successful Yoga Business and Not Go Broke. This is still, I don't have an actual copy of it yet. This is still the proof copy for the brand new edition. I tell the story about how I had to close my yoga studio at the end of 2015. And a lot of that came because I consistently put myself last. That ultimately led to my yoga studio's failure. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's pretty much par for the course that most businesses don't make it. Most entrepreneurial endeavors do not make it, like 90%. And in fact, one of the main reasons why 90% of all businesses fail is because of what I am about to teach you right now. For me, running a yoga business for a long time at that point, I started my yoga business in 2008. I was newly divorced. I had 3 small children, 2 cats, a house. I was running a business and doing all the things that a mom does. It put a lot of strain and stress on me. And I was constantly last on my to-do list. Everything else came first, including my yoga studio, including the yoga teachers who taught under me, including my clients, including my kids, including the house. It was everything else except for me. Now, what I really figured out was the reason most businesses fail is because the entrepreneurs do not pay themselves first. They sacrifice everything for their business, including themselves and their personal finances. And so oftentimes, while a business is trying to get off the ground, an entrepreneur will reinvest everything into that business just to pay the bills, to buy stock and inventory, and in my case, also pay yoga teachers. Now, it might be sustainable for a couple of months to do this, but it is not sustainable in the long run. And because I did not pay myself first, it had a ripple effect into every other arena in my life. And when it came to the point at which I needed to close my business at the end of 2015, I was putting everything else before myself. My relationship with my alcoholic loved one, my 3 kids, my house, my business, my clients, and everything that I named, everything came first. I came last. My financial well-being came last. My health came last. My exercise program came last. Everything else came last. And what ended up happening was financially, I was not making it because I wasn't paying myself first. I wasn't ensuring that I was okay financially. And it took a toll because doing that for 1 year can be devastating, but doing it for 7 years is really devastating because my focus was on other things. It wasn't only financial. It was my attention. It was my focus. It was my marketing efforts, perhaps, even though I did a lot for marketing, really. But even that, my judgment was clouded because I was exhausted. I was exhausted and I was trying to constantly figure out how I was going to pay my personal bills. And what ended up happening was I was putting every personal expense on my credit cards because I wasn't paying myself adequately. And then 2016 came, the beginning of which I had to bring my business home. Now, it had other gifts, of course, because of that, and I did end up turning it around, but really not until about 2017. But so many things happened. Both my cats died because I couldn't afford medication for one of my cats who was diabetic. And then he ended up dying, and then the other died of a broken heart. And my relationship was falling apart because I didn't realize that I needed to put myself first and set adequate boundaries with someone who was drinking themselves into oblivion. Even my relationship with my children became very strained, and I was constantly stressed. So my guilt about serving others first and not putting myself first devastated my life in every way, shape, and form possible until I completely lost it in November of 2016. I had to reach out for help. I ended up going to a Christian credit counselor. I ended up getting help from a church. Like, my mom even broke her hip when she came to visit, had to stay with me for a month, which put another financial burden on me because I had to taper back on teaching and holding my business hours in my house because she was staying, and she had to stay downstairs in my dining room for 4 weeks. So it was like, it exploded. Everything exploded because I didn't come first, ever. I didn't even come second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh. And I know life sometimes gets in the way. And I give myself grace because I did have a lot of responsibilities. But maybe I could have had more clarity. Maybe I could have been less stressed. Maybe I could have had more creative ideas if I was nourishing myself first, if I was putting my mental health, my mental well-being, my physical, emotional, psychological, and financial well-being first. Because giving everything to everyone else and everything else destroyed my life and completely destroyed it. I felt small. I felt defeated. I felt like I could never recover from that. I felt embarrassed. I was really embarrassed because I had done this to myself by putting myself last because I felt guilty about putting myself first. The winding up again of my self-esteem, my self-worth, trying to talk myself into being a better person for myself rather than trying to be a better person for everybody else, took a really, really long time. I would say it took all of 2017 to truly recover from 2016 and all of the prior years, but it took even longer than that to recover fully from that and learning how to put myself on my to-do list and at the top, not near the top, but at the top. So if you are in a position where you're feeling guilty, you think, okay, my kids have to come first, my pets have to come first, my spouse has to come first, my job, my boss. A lot of people are in that position where they're really fearful and they're like, well, my boss has to come first because I need my job. I got to pay my bills and have my household. And so they diminish their own personal power and put their job first, put their boss first, the demands of the work first. Well, your boss will respect you more if you are putting your job in its adequate place, meaning you show up on time, you put in your hours, you work while you're there, you're not on your phone or on YouTube or on whatever social media outlet you happen to be on. You're not texting, you're not distracted, but you're actually present, physically present, emotionally present, intellectually present. You do that. But you don't need to cave into other people's demands of you when you see that it is taking a toll on your well-being. By putting yourself first, people respect you more. People look up to you. People will back down from their demands because you are in a stronger position when you put yourself first. And I always say this, when you put yourself first, you have so much more to give. I took it out on my mom when she broke her hip and had to stay at my place for 4 weeks. Not because that happened, but because by that time, November of 2016, I was so incredibly depleted. I was running on minus empty, like empty wasn't even it. I was in a deficit at that point. I was in way minus empty that I didn't have anything more to give. I couldn't give any more of myself. It was impossible to give any more of myself. So then I became angry and frustrated and upset and just impatient with everyone and everything around me. And I learned through that experience that I never, ever wanted to be in that position where I was putting myself last because of guilt of putting myself first. And I never did that again. Now, there have been times where things happen where I've had to put another person's well-being ahead of my own. I've had to put a pet's well-being ahead of my own. I've had to put a client's well-being ahead of my own. But for the most part, 99% of the time, I come first. I come first because I know the devastation of doing the exact opposite of that. So I hope this inspired you to think about that guilt, to think about where that comes from, because it certainly doesn't come from you. It certainly comes from other people telling you you shouldn't be thinking of yourself first. You shouldn't be looking at yourself as number one. And I really emphasize this in all of my self-love books, courses, everything, that it's training against what we've been taught, right? We've been taught that it's selfish to think of yourself. We've been taught that service to others comes first. Now, I believe in service. My whole life is dedicated to service to others. And in fact, I had to pull the reins back. I had to pull the reins back because therapists told me I needed to pull the reins back on that. I've had readers, tarot readers tell me you need to pull the reins back on that. You don't have to serve everyone and everything all the time, because I was always in hyper overdrive on that. Service to others, service to the universe, service to earthly people, animals, things is important, but you cannot do it from an empty place. So breathe easy today. Breathe easy with that knowledge that there is absolutely no reason for you to feel guilty about putting yourself first, and that it is healthier and better for your life and the lives around you if you put yourself first. Don't forget to join me on September 3rd. You need to sign up though, because then you'll get the Zoom link. Join me on September 3rd for that fun self-love report card that we're gonna do, the little assessment, and have a lot of fun with this one. And learn a little bit more about Self-Love Mastery, the live class over Zoom with me. And also, hey, if you're a twin flame and you like to do readings for yourself, just do a little check-in. You can pre-order the Twin Flame Union Messages Oracle deck, and you can get that by mid-September. Thanks so much for joining me, and subscribe and like and share and all that, and I will see you in the next video.